for joining us on this week's edition of Youth Pulse. I am Priska Julian. In this week's program, the Dominica Institute for Arts marked the end of its 2014-2015 school year. A former chief cultural officer wants to see Creole taught at schools and more. Stay with us for the next 45 minutes as we explore this and other youth-related activities.
Woo! Yeah! Can you believe we get paid for this? Did you see those pictures? Nah, I'm too good. It's only one day.
Excited about what you do? Well, pass it on. As a JA volunteer, you could bring your enthusiasm to the classroom and give a few kids a little something to be excited about. Let their future be your inspiration and share a little something of yourself by being a JA volunteer today.
Get in and fasten your seatbelt, okay?
Mom, why do I have to wear seatbelts? I do not want to.
James, when I ask you to fasten your seatbelt, please do as I say. It's for your own safety and protection, okay?
Yeah.
Protect yourself, protect the child. Always fasten your seatbelt. Crashes can happen at any time. It is better to be safe than sorry. Remember, seatbelts save lives. A message brought to you by the Violence and Injury Surveillance System Committee in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization.
Welcome back. On Wednesday, the Dominica Institute for the Arts held its end-of-year closing ceremony for the 2014-2015 school year. Students graduated from a number of courses including arts, event management and planning, ballet, creative dance, drum kit, guitar, keyboard, music theory, steel pan and theatre arts. The ceremony, which was held at the Ararak House of Culture, was addressed by Honorable Minister Justina Charles, the Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Community Empowerment.
The Dominica Institute of Art is positioned to play a pivotal role in the development of our country. Just imagine what the world would be if the creative potential of its people remained untapped and underdeveloped. This institute is created precisely to harness and exploit the talents of Dominicans waiting to be tapped. Our citizens have a wide range of courses in the visual and performing arts to choose from at the Institute, so there is absolutely no barrier to their development in this regard.
The Institute for the Arts was established under the Ministry of Culture 3 years ago and has been steadily increasing the number of courses being provided. Mrs. Athlyn Douglas Murdoch, Director of the Dominica Institute for Arts, also announced that the Institute is currently offering courses holding 3 credits each, which are transferable to the Dominica State College. She also went on to congratulate the parents and students for their hard work and devotion throughout the year.
We also offered 3 courses at the college level: visual arts, creative arts, and dance. These elective courses can earn Dominica State College students 3 credits. The coming academic year, 2015-2016, we are offering for the first time a full associate degree in the visual arts.
Some of the classes, including the children and adult ballet groups, the children's choir and keyboard, and guitar students gave to the crowd a taste of what they had learned during their semesters. Those present were also treated with jazz performances by the Masquinada Jazz Group, one of the groups who will be playing at the Creole and Jazz Festival on Sunday 24th May at the Cabrit National Park. That performance and more at the Creole and Jazz Festival on Sunday. President of the Comité pour étudier Creole and former Chief Cultural Officer, Mr. Raymond Lawrence, calls for a greater appreciation and teaching of our traditional Creole language. Mr. Raymond says that languages all over the world disappear yearly, and thus the reason why it should be taught to and practiced by the youth of Dominica. Mr. Raymond says that in an effort to preserve the language and to ensure its continuance for our future generations, KEC is working with the Ministry of Education to have the language taught in schools as part of the national curriculum. And we're speaking about the Creole language. Let us take a break as we go into Parler Creole with Mr. Gregory Robert.
En Parler Creole, aujourd'hui là, nous allons parler du temps. We're going to speak about the weather. Temps. The weather. Some people say temps là. The weather. Temps. The weather. Si qu'a fait belle, if the weather is fine, nous allons dire temps belle. Weather is fine. Look at the bel beau temps, beautiful weather, fine weather. If the weather is bad, we say temps mauvais. The weather is bad. It is bad. Mauvais temps, bad weather. If you want to dig deeper into the nature of the weather, you can. Of course, if it is cold, you say il fait fouette. If you want to ask about the weather, say comment temps est? Comment temps est? What is the weather like? So you're talking to a friend over in Castle Bruce and you're in Roseau. So you're over the phone or you're on the WhatsApp and you say comment temps est? And the person will tell you, well, la pluie a tombé. It is raining. La pluie a tombé. If there's a lot of wind, vent a venté. It's windy. If the sea is rough, la mer mauvais. Or if the sea is very nice and calm, la mer plate. Okay, so comment temps est? What is the weather like? Il fait chaud, it is hot. Il fait fret, it is cold. La pluie a tombé, it is raining. Soleil a clairé, the sun is shining. Ça c'est tout, pardon, pour parler créole à sous temps.
Woo! Yeah! Can you believe we get paid for this? Did you see those pictures? Nah, I'm too good. It's only one day.
Excited about what you do? Well, pass it on. As a JA volunteer, you could bring your enthusiasm to the classroom and give a few kids a little something to be excited about. Let their future be your inspiration and share a little something of yourself by being a JA volunteer today.
Thanks for staying with us. On Wednesday, the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School Environmental Club recognized the upcoming Biodiversity Day. Biodiversity Day 2015 will be internationally recognized on Friday, May 22nd. Officer at the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Mr. Francisco Mafi, conducted the Biodiversity Day events at the school.
We had the ITSS. I, together with a colleague from work, we did a presentation on the sustainable biodiversity. Why is it important? Where has it come from? The need of it, and followed by a tree planting activity. We are trying to plant an endemic species by the name of the Boakari, endemic to Dominica. And the presence, the abundance of it has decreased dramatically. I'm not sure if it's because of forest fires along the coast, but it's normally along the coast. So we are trying to maintain what we have, and all that is part of maintaining our biodiversity.
Other partners working with the schools on biodiversity events include the National Youth Council of Dominica and the Youth Division. Mr. Mappy says it is important that the students and Dominica recognize that day and what it means for our natural resources.
Besides they knowing about the biodiversity, about our natural resources, our water, our clean air that we breathe, they too could practice something that would assist in maintaining our biodiversity, like for example, planting trees at your home, hedges, even recognizing the abundance of our bird species on island.
The Junior Achievement Program has launched a national Give the Gift of Education challenge among its students and members. Natasha Yiloy Labad, Executive Director of Junior Achievement Dominica, says that the initiative is driven by the fact that the current and past students who did surveys expressed that they would like to help share similar experiences with other students and introduce them to the JA program.
The Junior Achievement Program is launching its national fundraising campaign, and this is something that we are doing among all of the Junior Achievement alumni. So students who have gone through the JA program, whether they're at primary school or they are at primary school or high school or college or kindergarten, they will have the opportunity to join the Junior Achievement team and the volunteers to go and raise funds to support students that they would like to give the gift of education to. So the fundraising is going to be in support of the Junior Achievement Program kits.
Each school is encouraged to implement innovative fundraising initiatives within the school or local community.
We're working with students on a number of programs, and we are looking forward to implementing programs across all of the schools this coming September. So this campaign is specific to the students. I mean, a lot of the students have said, Miss, you know, we understand that you guys are working with Cashways, we understand that you're working with Jays, with Jollies. We want to be able to be part of that so that we can also pass on. And this is something that came through very strongly through our last JA survey, where the students actually said that they would definitely recommend JA to a friend, or they would like to actively give the gift of a JA session to a friend or student at their school.
Clubs and schools can register to be a part of the fundraising challenge by registering their clubs at info.jadom@gmail.com. There is an exciting prize awaiting the lucky school and student who raises the most funds for the program. Private offices and firms can also join the JA funding challenge. The JA team has been plotting with the colleagues of unsuspecting employees for an unforgettable appreciation event in exchange for the support of the Workforce for program. Mrs. Labat also gives us more information on Mr. Froggy's part in the campaign.
Mr. Froggy is a very exciting character. He has a very bubbly personality. He is the Junior Achievement mascot, compliments Cashways Dominica, and he has been doing some great work with our students at the primary school and kindergarten. They absolutely love him. And he's made his debut sometime last year, and he walked the streets of Roseau, and the feedback was so funny to see men, women and children really excited about Mr. Froggy. So Mr. Froggy has been cooking up some really exciting surprises with persons in the private sector, and there are a number of employees who do great work. They give fantastic customer service. They have a passion, you know, for ensuring that their organization shines and meet the needs of their customers, and Mr. Froggy, along with the HR managers and supervisors and other staff, would like to thank and recognize their colleagues.
And if you have not yet submitted your photos for the Africa Dress Day competition, there is still time. The competition will take place on May 29th, 2015. To enter, all you have to do is dress in your African wear, have a photo taken of you, and post it on the NYCD Facebook page. Prizes will be given to the best African wear as best male, best female, best couple, group, the best child, and the photo which gets the most Facebook likes. I sat down with two members of the Africa Week Planning Committee on what exactly the celebrations are and what we should expect for that week. More on that when we return.
Hello? I'm listening. You have to call me back because I'm going to cross the street. Okay, bye.
Be smart. Don't use cell phones while crossing the street. Be safe. Use the pedestrian crossing. A message brought to you by the Violence and Injury Surveillance System Committee in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization.
Welcome to the Let's Talk segment on Youth Pulse. Today we're speaking with Mr. Etienne and Ms. Saint-Vale about African Week celebrations. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk.
Thank you for having us.
Let's give our viewers an overview of what exactly is Africa Day and Africa Week celebrations.
Well, Africa Week is a week in the year that we chose, and it's been going on for quite some time now, to remember our roots, our culture, and the significance of what it means to be African in the Caribbean. The significance of that is to always enable the young generation, the youth, to understand who we are and what we need to do in order to continue to remember who we are. For example, everything is westernized today. You know, you have KFC, you have McDonald's, you have the video games, the rap music, all these things. But those things to us who are really focused on what it means to be African is not significant for us as a people. So out of 365 days, choosing 7 days to remember who we are is, what we're trying to do this year.
Okay. Do you feel that's enough though? With just the 7 days? Or?
Well, the plan is after the 7 days, the rest of the days of the year we'll remember who we are. So that's the real plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're basically trying to get, well, not just young people, but all of Dominica to recognize our African heritage all year round.
Yes. And what we're also trying to do is incorporate our theme into what it really means to be young and African. So the theme of the series, empowering women.
Okay.
And empowering the women of this country to identify with being an African in our country. And Ms. Saint-Vale will speak more to that in terms of what the women can do and will do during our week of celebration to bring that to the forefront.
Okay.
Just to add, the Africa Day or Africa Week celebrations was previously known as the African Liberation Day.
Okay.
And usually it was being spearheaded by the Rastafarian community. And what we have done is that we have partnered with different stakeholders because we want to make it not just a Rastafarian thing, but we want to make it a Dominica thing.
Right.
Because of course we are all of African descent and African heritage. So what we have done is that the National Youth Council has come on board. We have the Division of Culture who represents the government. We have our own planning group in Davis, and we have the Portsmouth Carnival Committee being part of the activities this year.
Okay, and to add to what Mr. Etienne was saying with the theme and how it ties into the women of Dominica and our culture, how do we plan to help them to recognize with their African heritage and to actually make the theme mean something to them?
Well, definitely, in terms of the youth and especially in terms of women, we see, the influence of the Americanized culture in terms of the dress. And what we want to do, we want to get our women to embrace who we are as a people, and just to be to wear with a sense of pride. So what we have done during the celebrations is that we have a National African Dress Day, where it will be celebrated island-wide, and everybody will get a chance, to wear the African dress and wear, the African dresses and so
Right,
on.
and that's not just for the women. We're trying to encourage the men as well to wear the African clothing. I know there's, like the natural hair thing for women is a big wave going on right now.
Definitely.
Do you think the African wear is something that will catch up like that?
Well, I definitely think that as we proceed, I think more women are actually embracing our African heritage. Because what you have now in terms of fashion, there's a new trend of the African prints and the Aztec prints, and are familiar with these things. So even I, as a woman, I have those prints in my closet. So I think it's coming on very well, and people are beginning
to catch on to the
Yes,
African wear and recognize what it means to us. Okay, and we were talking about trying to make sure that it stays throughout the year, not just 7 days. What are some of the things that you think we are already doing that really shows our African heritage, and some of the areas that we really want to highlight or bring to the fore that we can start putting in our tradition, in our everyday practices?
Some of the things, the first thing that comes to mind is our music, and how we have almost like a genius incorporating everything that we are into our music. So moving from there, we will try to entice the way we eat.
Okay.
And what we need to do, not just to admire how we did it before, but also to make us a healthier generation.
Right.
So in our program also, for the Dailies Committee, we have a way of life expert. And what we're trying to do is bring the folks to our market day and have them live and do things the way that we used to do it before. Like we plan to bring a cane press, have the kids come and press the cane. This is how our parents used to sweeten our cocoa tea before. Okay?
Yeah.
The cassava bread, the roast plantain and codfish. Back in the days when the farmers used to get bananas and they couldn't wait for the bread, or the bread didn't come, you roast the plantain, you roast the banana. Okay? This is who we are, and it's a grave concern to us that the youth of the day don't even recognize some of the things who have made us what we are today. So it's like going back to Carnival, for example. The sensei experience is a real African experience. Why is it just one day of the year? So that's of concern to us. The African Committee have really taken a huge effort with the Nabingi group to stretch it out from within the Nabingi Rastafarian thing to make it a Dominican thing, like she said. Because a lot of people associate it with taboo. Okay, you know what? It's a Rastafarian thing. I don't want to be identified as that. But the culture in itself expands way beyond just being a Rastafari. It is who we are as a people, and it also identifies the kind of struggle that we have to bring us to where we are today. So moving along during the rest of the year, we will have little tidbits of things, and it's very imperative that we have a successful week, so that when we make mention of things later down in the year,
we have something to relate to, right? Do you think, well, Ms. Enfield, do you think that because of the heavy influence, we have all this American TV and the American music and all of that's what we see, that's what the young people see on the TV, that's what they hear on the radios. Do you think that with that heavy influence out there, that is something that you can see as a reality, that eventually we're going to have such a heavy influence of our African heritage, like what we have right now of the American?
Well, I really don't think so, because in terms of our music, we see now that the African music is really taking a tone in Dominica. You know, for example, there was, you know, a big wave about bringing the African band Peace Square down for the festival, and even the flavor band. So a lot of the African music have already started, you know, being really popular, in our society. And something that has, you know, always been there in terms of our community and in terms of dailies, we have always been involved in the cultivation of farine and in the cultivation of mayok and so on. So and the toloma. And most of our farmers in Dailies are actually Toloma farmers. So that was heavily influenced by the African culture, because as a people, you know, that's what they do. And that's how we survive in Dailies as well. So we can really identify, you know, with the African heritage and so on. And it's just that people and the young people and everyone just needs to embrace it a little bit more.
Okay.
And to add to what you said, let's take for example Belian country. Okay? It's been there for decades, but we have made a very concerted effort to preserve that kind of history. So if we can do the same thing with African, you know, this is not an overnight thing, because we have to kind of shift it away from what people recognize it to be and make it what we want.
So they can identify with it.
That's why I'm very excited that the National Youth Council is on board, because that to me is significant as a means of transitioning from what we know to be Nabinge and African culture to what we see it as what it should be moving forward.
Right.
You know, so we're excited about that.
Okay. And I wanted to ask, well, both of you are part of the General Africa Planning Committee as well as the Dailies African Week Planning Committee. What are some of the activities that, the general activities that the committee has?
Well, on Thursday, that's Thursday the 21st, we have the official opening ceremony, the Africa Day celebrations, and that will be held this year. A lot of the focus is on the north, but this year the opening ceremony will be held in Portsmouth, and there will be a lot of cultural performances. There will be ministers, you know, there will be, you know, a lot of the African stuff, and also there will be an exhibition at that event as well. So they are kicking off the whole celebrations with the opening ceremony at Portsmouth. Then on Saturday they move to Portsmouth has the African Village. Okay. So they dubbed their area the African Village, and they'll be having an organic market and health and wellness fair. So all those activities are in Portsmouth.
And also every year, right? They used to have it like in Warsaw and the South, you know?
Yeah.
So, because the emphasis is on making it a Dominican thing, we move to
the north.
To the north and to Belize. So, in Portsmouth also they have the Talent Night, which is also on 23rd. And on the 24th, we have this, what we call an African Day for the family and friends. Okay. We have the opening of the village, boating, evening line and stuff like that. You know, take the family out and you know, wear your African dress and just feel like an African.
So this is a whole day family.
Yeah, whole day family stuff. And then on Monday the 25th in Portsmouth also we have an African Day March, and it's important because we have as a female empowered women. So during our week of celebration, you will see a lot of women in the forefront and a lot of women participating and speaking truth to what we're trying to do. On Wednesday, we have the National Youth Council program, which is and then on the 28th, Thursday, we have the African Cuisine Competition, and also of significance is African Movie Night. And we want this to be done across the entire country. Here's what we want to do. We want villages across the country to choose a movie that's African, figure out a place you can look at it, sit down together like Africans used to do.
So like a village event, everybody
event.
come around and that shouldn't be too much of a problem, because you know the movies themselves, they've become very popular in Dominica. So what we just have to do, so are we reaching out to, like, you know, every village usually have their youth group and so on. Are we reaching out to different groups to set that out, or are we just putting it out there as something that they can do if they...
Well, today's the first step on your program right now.
Okay.
And tomorrow in Portsmouth, I'll make mention of that. And also I will seek to maybe talk to one of the radio morning programs to highlight it as it gets there. A big event for this year is the African Dress Day. And do you want to talk about that?
Well, definitely. Friday the 29th is the African Dress Day, and that activity is spearheaded by the National Youth Council. So they are asking, Dominica to participate and to dress in the African wear and upload photos to the Facebook page. So the National Youth Council has a Facebook page, and they're asking people to upload their photos to the Facebook page. And I think prizes will be awarded to the best dressed male and female in those areas.
Okay, and we really want to put emphasis on, these things. The women usually go all out for dressing in the African wear or whatever wear that you're bringing out. But we really want to tell the men to get on board with the African wear, because we don't see too much of that around.
And for the businesses also, just do something African. You work at a business, you're a young person, you go to work. It sensitizes the whole issue of what we're trying to do as the committee to, get everybody on board for African Day. And on Saturday the 30th, the curtains come down in Dallas. And this is going to be where everything that's done is done in such a way that's meaningful as we try to transition African Week into a healthier living, healthier lifestyle, better dressing, getting the young on board. For example, we start that day at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So at 6 o'clock, our market day begins.
Oh, okay.
We have identified some farmers, and we're going to bring them out to Carrick Junction, where we're going to have them set up and sell the produce.
Okay.
And then we have the African Expo Way of Life that I spoke of previously.
Right.
And after that, and it's very important. For example, during the African Expo and Way of Life, a lot of the young guys don't know about herbs. The rosemary in your backyard is a good
like for the teas and healing.
So what is a rosemary? What is this? What is that? So this is what we're aiming at doing. So when I spoke about it being transitioning for the rest of the year, I mean, in September, you might have a stomachache, remember?
And you remember, right.
Exactly. And then we transition towards the evening, where the focus is on Miss Senville and what she's trying to do with the young women of the village.
Tell us some about that.
The afternoon session is, we're having a African fashion extravaganza. So what we have done is that we have identified some young women who are interested in being part of the fashion show. So they'll be wearing, trendy outfits made from African cloth. And the women will be representing, different African countries. So that's something that everybody's looking forward to. And
sounds interesting. It sounds like
fun
too.
Having you there as well.
Do you have designers? Everybody, are they from Delices or from all around, the people making the outfits?
Well, the women themselves are, interested in the fabric, and they're interested in, in trendy
also, they
stuff.
do their sewing, they do everything. Okay.
So we're gonna use things that are up to the time and trendy, and make Africans, outfits out of them.
Okay. Any other activities within the Delices that you guys are going to have for Africa Week?
No. What we have done is try to incorporate everything into one day.
Okay.
To make it such an excitement that people remember.
Okay.
In saying this, I have to give a shout out to Mr. Ramos, the Cultural Division, the Northern Calypso Association, the House of Nabinge, Imani, and Ainora, and those guys. Believe it or not, we have sat down for almost 2 months planning this thing. Because it's really what we want to happen moving forward with African liberation and the House of Nabinge and the youth. You asked earlier, what does it mean to be, what's the significance of it? We also believe that understanding our culture and our heritage will allow the youth to be more compatible to each other, just to calm down a bit.
Yeah.
Calm down a bit, because because, and you made mention of the Western civilization. We have nothing against that. But what we know is that our culture as a whole does not promote that kind of hostility that sometimes can be extrapolated from what we see on TV. So the African Week is a movement we're starting for the entire country, and we're excited about it.
So, and we're looking to get a more peaceful people, healthier people from all of that. We spoke about the food, we spoke about the dress. I didn't hear, are we doing anything with dance?
Well, one thing with African culture, everything is dance. Everything is dance, Miss Centville has a lot of plans up her sleeve, to really portray different countries based upon what is being done culturally in that country. For example, if a young lady decides she wants to represent Ghana, is it the dance in Ghana that makes Ghana known?
Right. Okay.
She's going to dance.
Okay.
And definitely something else in relation to the dance is that we have engaged the sensei group, and the Africans love to dance.
Right.
It's similar in that of the the sensei, and how they portray the wear and so on. So that's a link in itself with the Africa Day celebrations.
Fair enough. Thank you. And before we wrap up, do you have any parting words that you want to give, if you want to, appeal to the young people, or not just the young people, of course, but, Dominicans as to getting on board and getting recognized, identifying themselves with our African heritage?
Yeah, well, definitely. This is who we are. We want to encourage everyone to embrace our roots. That's our roots. Our hope is that, African Day celebrations will be marketed just like our independence celebrations, because those are cultural activities in this country.
So that's where we are in terms of African and African culture and African unity. And even when we were doing this program and putting it together, Mr. Rabbit's already mentioned of Creole Day and how it started, and how they had to get a day, and how he wished back in the 80s it would be remembered and continue. And that's our hope and dream of African Week, where moving forward in the future and in the distance, we could see Dominicans looking forward with, think of it as 2-3 years from now, we have a African national design competition, and we could showcase it nationally. So the scope of what we're doing right now is huge, and I think it's important that the youth of this country, that's why I'm so excited for the National Youth Council being on board, so that the youth, can get into it and hopefully remember what we're trying to do.
All right. Thank you. Thank you guys for the information, for letting everyone out there know what's going to be happening for Africa Week and Africa Day. And I commend you all for being part of something so significant for Dominica. So once again, thank you for joining us. To our viewers, you're looking at Youth Pulse, and this was the Let's Talk segment of Youth Pulse. After this short break, we'll be right back.
Hello? Listen, you have to call me back because I'm going to cross the street. Okay, bye.
Be smart. Don't use cell phones while crossing the street. Be safe. Use the pedestrian crossing. A message brought to you by the Violence and Injury Surveillance System Committee in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization.
This week's star in youth is Miss Jody Shillingford True, a young woman recognized for her rise in entrepreneurship. Take a look.
My name is Jody Shillingford True. I run a cake decorating business called Jody's Sweet Arts.
Okay, Jody's Sweet Arts. And cake decorating, give us a download on the services. What, do you offer? Is it cakes, cupcakes? Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, our business provides a variety of services and products, and we do bridal consultations for the brides who want to do a tasting first or have a consultation to decide what sort of cake it is that they want, what theme their wedding would be, how they want their cake to tie into their wedding. We offer cookies, we offer cupcakes. We're just starting to put out our line of cakes and cheesecakes. We do wedding cakes, we do cakes for all sorts of different occasions. So we do birthdays, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, christenings, and on so much more.
Yeah, you sound really, really busy.
We are.
Tell me why you started this business and actually how long you've been in this business.
I think we started cake decorating, opened our business in 2010 or 2011 thereabout. We started basically because we love to make things that were pretty. We love making creative cakes. I think I started when I took my first order after a friend saw a picture of a cake that I did on Facebook. She ordered her cake then. I posted that picture on Facebook, and then more people saw that cake and they started ordering cakes. And since that time, through Facebook, we've been getting a lot of orders.
Okay, you've been saying I and we interchangeably, and it sounds to me that this business has grown. Started off maybe as a sole proprietorship, as sole entrepreneur, and probably has expanded to include some other partners. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, I started in 2010, 2011, after having taken a class through adult education. After that, I hired a part-time assistant, but even beyond that, my parents, my family, my friends, and my husband have been involved in the business. So I like saying we, just to make sure that I never forget that it's not just me. That's why I use I and we.
Okay, that's interesting. The theme of entrepreneurship has been getting a lot of airplay, and I want to ask you, why do you think entrepreneurship is so important to Dominica right now, and how do you think that is in any way linked to economic growth?
I think entrepreneurship is very important, and I'm very, very pleased to see the push that it's getting now over the last couple of years. I started hearing about entrepreneurship more often after having participated in the World Program a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2011. I think it's important because people need to have the ability and the knowledge to know that their abilities can make room for them, that they can make money based on what they're able to do, based on what their passion is, and based on the opportunities that are present in the country or the environment that you're in.
Seems to me that you went through a process, educating yourself, getting the right skills. You mentioned which I know is why Tikapuli Entrepreneurs Levy, and then you managed to encourage and motivate your family and friends to support you and work that road with you. Tell me about some challenges that you remember really fondly, and what would you say, what place do you feel that those challenges had in shaping your business?
As far as challenges are concerned, I had always been a very organized person. I like making lists. I like having my to-do list and crossing out the things that I got done in the order that they got done in. But as we got more busier, it became very, very challenging to keep track of the flavors of the cake that somebody wanted, the dates that they wanted, and the time that they wanted to pick up the cakes and so on. So it became a bit of a challenge staying organized as we got busy. So at one point, I was so busy doing business that I had a lot of difficulty organizing the business aspect of it. So taking notes, keeping records, and so that was one of my biggest challenges. And I'm still, working on what the best system is. Because of recent life changes, it's become even more hectic. So I'm still working through those challenges. Other things like sourcing raw materials on island can be a bit difficult. My location, while there are some advantages to where I'm located, I'm out of town, which sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. Some people have to drive down from town to come to my house in Salisbury to get their cake. So that can be a bit of a challenge, but we're working on seeing how we can solve those problems.
Any general advice or parting words of advice, words of wisdom to any aspiring, entrepreneurs out there looking at you and thinking, boy, if she can do it, I can do it, or, what would you say?
I would say I know this sounds very, very cliche, but if you have a passion for something and you have the opportunity to pursue that passion and to help, and you have the opportunity to pursue that passion and to make money, if there are challenges, you sit down and you focus on what the solutions to those challenges are going to be. So you really have to have that can-do type of mentality. You look at the problem head on and you think of what the solutions are that you're going to be able to implement to be able to overcome those challenges.
Right. Thank you so very much.
That was Miss Jody Shillingsworth, owner of Jody's Sweet Art. Now let's hear from Mark Owije.
You're there now. Yes, you're there with me, Mark Owije, your motivator, because I am here to motivate you. Now, tell me, what are your values? Know what you should be doing. Know what is right. Then go ahead and do it. Yes, don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Even the Bible says, bad company, they spoil character. Young people, stand up for what is right. Let the world know you can stand up for and who you are. Take some time to know yourself, because the African proverb says, he who stands up for nothing, he will fall for everything. Remember, Mark Owije say, stand up for what is right.
Thank you, Mark Owije. We come to an end of this week's Youth Pulse. Youth Pulse is brought to you by the National Youth Council of Dominica in collaboration with the Government Information Service. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to being with you next week.